Hi, Mike here with the video of day 3 of the Florida Trifecta series of events in January 2024, inspired by the arrival of 75 Scandinavian orienteers who completed a Caribbean cruise in Tampa. And this one is a sprint race, slightly longer than a usual sprint, but it's on the campus of the University of South Florida. So we are going to take a look at that and see how that race goes. After the race video, there'll be a few short clips about my return journey back to snowy Massachusetts. Okay, off to the final event of this 3-day orienteering weekend at the University of South Florida. And this morning I made a mistake in the van. I have a little hook on the back of the sink to hold the sink top cover when I'm not using it. Knocked it over and it went down the back. So I've had to turn off the hot water and the heater until I find it. Couldn't find it behind the cupboard. I now have to take out, unscrew a cupboard, and I'll do that after the race. And that was really boring for you, so let's get going to the event. Here we are at University of South Florida campus. That's sort of where everybody's hanging out. The start is off down that way. Here's the start area. Here's my map with the course on it. I did the orange course, stepped down from the green course the day before because I wasn't sure if my knees could handle 3 runs in 3 days. So this is technically not that difficult, so I won't do what I often do and give you time to figure out what direction you might do. What I'll do is I'll just show the course as I did it with some commentary. So like a bit of a fool, I forgot to turn my head cam on at the start. It will come on a bit later, as you can see. Doing pretty well with the course. Come along here all right. Coming out of 3 though, I did go around the wrong side of a building. I miscounted the buildings and whoop, took a left turn there and should have gone around that building. So I did lose about, I don't know, 10 seconds there. And here we go, finally got the head cam switched on. And you can see the beautiful terrain of the University of South Florida. Really was very pleasant to run across. The day was a nice day for running for me. It was in the, I think it was in the mid-50s, low 50s Fahrenheit, of course. So off to the next one. You can see it's very easy terrain to run across, nice grassland. No snow because we're in Florida, not Massachusetts. So going to be a more or less straight line route to this control. Straight across the road. There wasn't much traffic on the road around the campus this day. Straight through the parking lot. Orienteers will take a straight line between cars. There we go. The one thing about this leg that I needed to think a little bit was, do I go straight across this open area here because there's an uncrossable fence? So I was just running along the side here, pondering that, can't cross an uncrossable fence, but there was a gap that I could spot. So it was uncrossable, yeah, if you were trying to cross it at an uncrossable point. But you can see a clear gap, so I wasn't smashing down a fence or climbing over an uncrossable fence. Just go straight through the gap. And then just have to decide whether to go to the left or the right of the buildings ahead. And I went to the right. Keeping up a pretty decent pace. Hear my huffing and puffing in the background. Felt my running was going pretty well. Crossed another parking lot. Past some kids. And there's the control down there. This is only my second sprint orienteering event, even though I've been orienteering for about 50 years. Had a little gap for a while, for a few years, while I had a broken back. but I never really felt like doing sprint events. I always preferred the traditional long distance ones, but decided to do a sprint last year, I think it was, at the West Point meet, and I really enjoyed it. So I was happy enough to do it again here. And off number 6, across the road again. You can kind of just about see that shallow hill. Not really a hill, sorry, bump in the ground. Just need to stay to the right of that, and then we'll get to the next control. So the next leg, 6 to 7, I did run into a situation that wasn't good. It was of my own making, and we'll come across that. We're just coming out of 6 now. So we'll just cut some of the video out till we get to the interesting point. All right, here we go across the road, and I'm thinking ahead and wondering what to do about this big set of buildings here. What I spot is what I think is a trail or a gap between the two buildings here, and when we come up to it, you'll see what actually happened. All right, so here we are approaching the building, and I am hoping to see some kind of gap. Of course, what actually happened was I misread the map. There was no gap. It was just a solid black line showing a, I guess, junction between two different buildings. I'll take a quick look at the building, and it seems like it's maybe a cafe or a reading room or something. Maybe I can get through it, but that's not appropriate in the competition to open the doors and go through the building. So I realize I have to just go around it. Not a huge mistake, but in a sprint event, every little bit counts, and probably lost another, I don't know, 5-10 seconds there again. So off we go around it. Here we are, crossing another parking lot, getting to the control, which is like a standalone tree. Should be coming up pretty soon. Here it is. And then 7 to 8 had a couple of interesting points on it. First one was crossing this road. As we'll see, the vegetation in the middle of the road. There are some thickets, you know, don't go through those, that's fine. But as I come up to the rest of it, it's all this sort of ivy stuff. And I'm just pondering, how thick is that? Am I supposed to run across that? Let's go around this one. Yeah, sure, I can go across this, no problem. So we'll go straight to it. And then the next interesting part, this is actually some contours around the control. So we get a little bit of terrain, a little bit of uphill. And the control is going to be by that tree there. Well hidden around the back of it, because ideally when you're orienteering and you're approaching from the correct direction, you should be seeing the feature before the control. It's around the back here. Not sure if I'll get to see it on the video. No, just tagged it and off we go. 8 to 9. So the only thing I did wrong with 8 to 9 was going around this corner of the building. There were some hedges here. They were marked on the map. I went to the right. I had trouble reading the map and fine detail there, and I thought there might not have been a gap through them. I should have just gone to the left of the hedge. Could have cut straight across. Just a few seconds lost there. And then I just carried on across the parking lot, around the fence, and coming into the control. And this time I'm realizing that I'm having a pretty good run, because for me at least, that is, shall we say, because I'm able to keep running quite hard, and I know I'm going faster than I usually do in an orienteering event. Not too surprising given that the terrain is so runnable. Here we go, cross the road, got to be careful. Traffic, yeah, there is actually a car there, but at least they're not slowing me down. Oh, there's another orienteer, managed to catch up with them, managed to overtake them. Around the building, across the grassy area, over the well-kept grass of the campus of the University of South Florida, into the 10th control. Around the tree here. And then 10 to 11, I'm just wondering what kind of a gap there is, because there is an area that's marked as out of bounds. It's that green area there. Looks like there should be a gap after that, and between that and the building, and indeed there is. Again, I'm not used to sprint maps, and it was a bit difficult for me to read the map in fine detail there, but I could see the gap there. Shoot through the gap, straight down to the last control. Which is right there. And after I get that control, it's a straight shot to the finish. There we go, straight across the bed there. Those people are not cheering for me, there's somebody else. And finished. Really enjoyable. Apart from going the wrong way around a couple of buildings, one more I thought I could get between two, but there was just a wall and I couldn't. I had a good run. Maybe because it's a lot cooler, it's around like 52 degrees. Here we are at the download station, and they were having live results using live locks, so we could all see what they were. And look at that, I came first on my course. Very pleased with that result. Started my sightseeing Sunday night after the race at South Florida, University of South Florida. Staying out of the Cracker Barrel. This one had the most RVs of any I've stayed at. Then it was on to the Everglades the next day, where I went to the Shark Valley hiking tram road, which was a 15-mile round trip, which I used on my bicycle, which I brought all the way from Massachusetts. It was a very nice day and a lovely ride. Then I had the night at the parking lot in Amy's French Bakery and Bistro in Pompano Beach, with an amazing breakfast there. And that was my breakfast. Yummy. The next day I spent part of the day in a park, and then went on to Amici's, which is one of the best, if not the best, pizza and wings place I've ever been to, owned by friends of mine in Coconut Creek in South Florida. Then after another night at a Cracker Barrel, I went for a hike around Riverbend Park, followed up by wine and tapas at Daytona with another good friend of mine. Then it was a long drive home through the snow, with overnight stays at a truck stop and a Cracker Barrel before finally arriving back in Massachusetts at home. It was a really nice trip. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Very glad I did it. Thanks again to Florida Orienteering for putting on a wonderful series of 3 events. Well, hope you've enjoyed this. If you like this kind of video content, please subscribe to the channel. See you in the next one.